Hey guys, my name is SJ and I am a baby name consultant. So my whole career is really around styling. So I've gotten really good at being able to find couples' styles when they come to choosing a name that they're going to love forever, because we know how hard it is to pick a baby name. Well, I do now. There are so many dilemmas that come in through the consultancy, and it's not just couples disagreeing, it's often people who are just totally stuck, or they love the first name that they chose for their first baby, maybe they peaked too soon and they just can't find anything they like as much, and they know the decision is as big as anything else. You think about how much effort we put in to just say that we're like picking our wedding dress. They're all pretty much so similar, but they're so personal as well. We want something that just feels like us. We want something that our nearest and dearest are gonna love. And we want something that's going to feel like there's a reason that we chose it, that it really brings out our best and really says something about us. So today I'm going to share with you 5 exercises that can help you define your baby name style. And I'm not just going to leave it there, I'm also going to show you how you can actually find names then within that particular style. So it's a really fun video. Get together with your naming partner and watch through. And because naming babies really is kind of my skill that I've built up over a few years, this is all brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Skillshare. Now, like me, you might have heard of Skillshare and not really been sure exactly what it is. So Skillshare is a massive online learning community. There are so many tutors on there with all inspiring ways that you can really boost your creativity and learn something new. So there are some great parenting courses on there, and you know, if you follow my other videos, I love gentle parenting, so things like this and about asking powerful questions I absolutely loved. There's lots of well-being and interior design courses. I love this idea of transforming my personal space for my well-being, and that's a course that I'm going to be taking. And if you're really interested in making your creativity a bit of a side hustle or just to enjoy it more, there's so many painting courses. There's also ways in turning your creativity into a career. Really, really constructive courses. So if you fancy trying it, you can get a month free. I really encourage you to go in there and explore and give yourself a month this summer to really learn and get indulged in a passion or to take your career to the next level. The first 1,000 of you that use my link in the description box below will actually get a month free. This video is really inspired by an amazing video I watched by Andy Pizza, which is all about how to unlock your creative identity, and I absolutely loved it so much. He's actually an illustrator, but he talks through how to find your personal style and how to unlock that on paper for illustrators, and it really resonated with me in the same way that I work to unlock someone's style, or to when I'm writing for them a baby name. There's so many things that I think about, like their identity, the things that they love, their passions, their history, and a lot of you ask me how I come up with the names. So exercise number 1 is really about finding your identity. So when you're coming up with a baby name and you're finding it hard, you're probably just trying to get inspiration from other people, from name list books A to Z, from names you hear on the telly, and it doesn't really end up being a name that means something to you or a reason why you like it, apart from it just sounds nice or it looks pretty, and that might be why you're stuck in kind of like, not love. And that's where I get most lists from. It's like, here's all my names, I like them all, but there's not one that stands out, there's not one I really love. So you've really got to take it back to yourself, and it all comes from you and your identity, just like we were talking about with the wedding dresses or with how you style your home as well. So take a few minutes now to do exercise 1, which is about who am I? So first step's really easy, and you might have done this already or you maybe haven't, but if I'm researching for somebody, I'll first look into their name, who they are, where they are from, and figure out their heritage. So if you've got strong Irish roots, or you may have family in Canada or from all around the world, and it's a really lovely way of finding names that feel really special to you and your family. Also looking in your family tree, go back through your family tree, have a look for names, and if you've got a naming partner, it's really fun to look in both your family trees. Are there any names that actually match over? So we have a little boy called Frederick, Freddie, our firstborn, and there's lots of Fredericks in my husband's family, and my nan's brother was Frederick as well, so it's really sweet that that name has come through the generations for both of us. Is there anyone particular in your family that's really inspired you and that you would really like your child to kind of be like? And that could even be from your friendship groups as well, and really thinking about those people and their characteristics. Is that somebody I would like to honour in my baby's name? Because passing names through generations is still a really hot topic at the consultancy. A lot of people want to do it, and we have loads of advice on how you can then elevate or change the name up to make it more modern. But it gives you a sort of a starting point if you don't particularly love that name. But have a think about that. It could be that your great-grandma was called Sandra. You're not so keen on it, but maybe you quite like the idea of Sandy for a little boy, which is more modern, more outdoorsy and cute and fits your style a little bit more. So it's a good starting place to get your list going. So hopefully you've got a little list with a few things about just who you are, your DNA as a couple, some countries, some special people, some family tree names, or some places that are really, really important to you. And now we're going to move on to looking into the next bit, which I love to do, which really gets to the fun bit, which is your passions. So this is where I find the most unique names and the ones that people really get lit up by and make you smile like I am now. It's just a really fun thing to think, what kind of am I really, really into? And what are those joint interests that we have? So it might be that you absolutely love travel. Are you really into art? Are you into gaming? Are you a massive foodie? What kind of animals do you like? Do you love birds? Does that make you feel really joyful? And once you kind of write all those things down, your passions, are you artistic? Do you like drawing? And just really think about your hobbies and your passions, because there are ways I'm going to show you that you can bring that into your baby's name. And I'm not going to say call him Pencil, even though Pencil, quite nice. Are you massive movie fans? There's often a huge amount of names come from movies. Is there a particular movie you saw on your first date, or a particular director that you love? If you're big movie fans, what's a character from one of your favourite films that you watch? And that's just a really nice story then to have between the two of you, and also to pass on to your baby. And a really fun exercise that I found on Andy Pizza's course on Skillshare about how to find what your passion is was so interesting, and it's called 6-Year-Old Tattoo. I love it, I absolutely love it. So basically ask yourself the question, if my 6-year-old self got a tattoo that I still love today, what would it be of? What would it be of? It's such a fun exercise because it really gets you to the core of who you are, and also sort of your child, who your child's going to be like, because spoiler, your child's going to be just like you, mostly. You and your partner are going to create a baby that is very, very similar to you, whether for you nurture or nature. They just somehow absorb your interests and your passions and your DNA. So it's a really, really lovely part of it. So just do ask yourself that question. So for me, it would have been a book. I was a book nerd when I was little. I still love reading, and it really lit a light bulb moment for me as well, because my husband loves reading as well. We met at university where we both read different subjects, but were really into books, and it's something that I really like fancy about a guy. He can sit with a book, get lost in another world, even though his is maybe a bit more Jack Reacher than mine. But we swapped books a lot. We've both got the exact same favourite book, which always is a point of argument because I'm sure that I gave it to him. He's sure he gave it to me. But we both love The Magus by John Fowles, which is a really weird book actually, set on a Greek island, so we could have done something like that. But it's just a really fun little exercise to have a think about, and then you can really drill into that type of passion in your names. The next thing to think about is your taste. Now it's really hard because I always think other people are better at finding or describing our taste than us. It's really hard when it's yourself, but you know, you can really see it. Like you can see it in my house. Like I love lots of plants, I love lots of earth colours. Your house might be really, really different. Your house might be really maximalist, colourful and playful. Are your clothes really like classic and traditional and elegant, or are your clothes kind of maximalist and bright and wacky? Do you like a kind of retro palette? And then you might like more vintage names. So it's really interesting to kind of figure out what your taste and style is, because that will come into play in your names, and it might be helping you to pinpoint or narrow down a mega name list, or when you feel a bit overwhelmed by choice. It might be that your house is a really kind of muted earth tone colours, very, very minimalist, and so suddenly having a baby with the name Pandora might be a bit over the top and extra for you, and you might want something a little bit minimalist and understated, like an Esme or something that might fit in more to your palette. So it's really interesting. It helps consultants as well, if you are going to go to a baby name consultant, to really understand where your taste lies. And the second part of taste that's really important is how brave you are. Are you safe, brave or daring? Those are the three categories that I always put people into when it comes to names. And a really fun way of finding that out is to literally use statistics. Let's go statistics, guys. So on the Office of National Statistics in the UK, they release the baby name popularity lists every single year, and probably you've heard the top 10 or the top 1, Oliver and Olivia. Every single year, I'm on the case, guys. I'm trying to make a change. But if you're not sure where your taste lies, you can figure that out by just literally going down and down the charts. So the ones further down the charts will mainly be more daring. So if you've got a name that you like but isn't maybe your top name, or maybe is being pinched by someone else, for example the name Violet, on so many name lists, but so many people have already used it and it might seem a bit me too or a bit matchy. So you can go onto the Office of National Statistics, and what I do with clients is ask them to look at the 10 names before it and the 10 names after it, and normally they might find one or two to list because it's in their comfort zone, it's in their safety zone, it's where they like to be. But you can also play around with, going 20 down the list and just keep pushing yourself to be more and more daring. I also have a whole resource on this, so I have 2 or 3 videos where I take you through daring alternatives to popular names, and I do 2 or 3 alternatives per name. So you can go ahead and click on those videos at the end. I will link them all below and get a ton of ideas, and also figure out how safe, brave or daring you are. And the 5th thing I do if I'm working with a client on a bespoke baby name is really stuff about them and their experiences. Our experiences are really what shapes us, is what's got us here onto this journey of trying to conceive or having a baby, and it really helps us to find a name with meaning. And meaning sometimes isn't just that I like the name meaning, like I like that the name Aurora means dawn goddess, yes I do, but does that have any particular meaning to me, or does it mean as much to me as it does to you? But it goes beyond that. It's really about finding meaning in a name that reflects all parts of you and how you've got to this motherhood journey, and also I think how you see what kind of a life we're going to give to your child, or your dream life for your child, because we know they are born with too many expectations on their little heads, but that's for another gentle parenting video. But to go ahead and do that, have a little think through on your next list about your experiences, and particularly your experiences together as a couple. I love doing this with couples. Where did you have your first date? Where did you first meet? Could even be an in-joke between the 2 of you. Lots of babies have been named after personal jokes, and it's so sweet. It doesn't have to just be a nickname. You can be a lot freer with your names now. You don't have to pick Thomas, Amelia, Theodore. You can pick something that is a word, that is fun, that means something to the 2 of you. So writing down all your experiences, ideally your experiences as a couple, but if you're naming a baby by yourself, then for yourself and your life, what was your first festival? When did you first feel the most free? Where were you when you found out you were pregnant? All those little things can go to make a beautiful baby name. We had a baby named after a champagne at their wedding, or a little cafe in their favourite town where they go on holiday, so that one day they can have that memory of bringing their baby to that little cafe and sitting there with her. Makes me emotional. I'm too emotional to name babies, but it's a really gorgeous thing to do. So have that list ready, and then we're going to look at how we can bring all of these together and turn them into a name. So you've got your list on paper, and hopefully a few things are starting to kind of like ping in your mind. Like, I never thought of that, or I could actually ask my mum about this person's name, or didn't my husband say that he had an aunt with this name and I really liked it? Or I remember that first time he told me he loved me and we were, on that double-decker bus going around London, and how about a name that's London inspired? And hopefully some ideas are kind of coming to the surface. So when it comes to style, it's really important to see things. Like, I can tell you as much as I like, oh, I would like you to go to the shop for me and buy me a boho top, but your idea of boho might be like a grey oversized t-shirt and shorts, and I would really after a floaty dress, for example. So actually visualising it is really, really, really fun. I'm sure you're visualising all over for like nursery, for clothes, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to put together a Pinterest style, and I'm going to choose baby boy names for mine. So to bring this life on paper, it's super easy to use Pinterest and just create a board with baby boy names, one with baby girl names, and just start visualising all of that list that you've written down. So special places to you, like I would have written down the lake house in Sweden, special things that you like doing. So I've added books and library things. I've added in the clothing aesthetic that I really like, that's quite nature-led. So lots of kind of greens, lots of kind of linens and stuff like that in there, because that's really when I look into my taste as sort of buying baby clothes and buying clothes for myself. That's kind of what I'm more drawn towards. I've added pins of where we live. So we were living in Richmond when we had our baby. So spend a little while doing that. You can do one each, you can do it together, you can just do it by yourself with a hot drink when you're having one of those long, lonely, pregnant afternoons, and see what you come up with. So once you've got your boards, I'm going to show you how to now look at those boards and really pull up to the surface what that says about you, and you'll get to a theme that you want for your baby name. So it's really fun. Hopefully you've already had some thoughts that are outside of where you've been before. But what I loved in the Andy Pizza Unlock Your Creativity course on Skillshare, he had this really cool analogy from Gordon Ramsay, and how Gordon Ramsay always says, this is you on a plate when somebody creates a meal, and how he's like, that's so strange, isn't it? It's like really difficult to understand what that is. So really your mood board for your baby name is you on a plate, who your child is going to be on a plate, and all of those experiences and aesthetics and dreams and hopes and lifestyle points that you really want to bring into your life, and how your life with your baby is going to look. So have a look at them and start to try and pull out some themes. So for mine, I can see, like with my nursery, I quite like a kind of minimalist. I don't want it to be too busy or too bright and colourful or cartoony. I don't want it to be kind of lots of murals. I quite like the idea of it being quite a minimalist and calming space. So for that, I would say that I kind of really would like a kind of a simple name. But I've got all these kind of play keys, like with superheroes or outdoor play. I definitely think it needs to be outdoorsy and playful as well, because that is just 100% how I see my little boy. I've put in some little images of little blonde haired boys, because I pretty much know in my family, if you know, we're all blonde. So I imagine a baby of mine will be blonde as well. So I've kind of got those in. And then little boys kind of playing outdoors, kind of with like bows and arrows, and that kind of adventure book, like these sort of childhood books that are really important to me throughout my life. And books being a theme, I've got some books here. Kind of pulls you into some sort of themes that you might really want to then explore for your baby name. So once you've kind of got all that down, you can really see those themes, and those are things that you really will want to bring forward when you're picking a name for your baby that's really going to do what we said at the beginning, which is feel like you. A name that is unique to you, that is special to you, that when you announce the name, when you tell people the name, I chose this name because I will love this name forever, because it means something to me more than just a name on a page in an A to Z guide that I liked. And it's a name that's just perfect for me in terms of how brave or daring it is. It kind of feels in my name comfort zone. And some of us have different comfort zones, I know, so that's a thing to explore together with that. 10 above, 10 below, you will get there. You will choose a name that you both really love. So now you've got some themes hopefully written down. And so to help you pick the name, I have an entire backlog, hundreds and hundreds of baby name lists per theme. So there's so many that you can go now and access and watch together to find a name. Obviously research by yourself as well and find something, but the name list that I do, the reason I do them by themes is because this is how I've always approached it. It's a really personal service, and I think it's such a personal thing, and I really wanted to elevate baby naming to the next level. I've got French baby names, Spanish baby names, so any name list or combo that you're into, you can go ahead and look through the whole entire playlist. You can save a few to watch later, and I hope within those name lists you will also find a name that you love. If you can't and you're stuck, you can also email me sj.strum@yahoo.com to be featured on the Baby Name Envy podcast. So you email in a dilemma. We get so many, hundreds every day. We love to answer them on the podcast. So you can also listen to the podcast and hear dilemmas similar to dilemmas that you might be having, and names that I'm choosing for other people. And there's always loads of techniques in there as well, like how to dodge a dodgy surname, Mr. Roast and Mr. Peacock. You made it hard for me. Or how to deal when two of you love the same name, and how to elevate a name that maybe someone else is stealing. So I want to do that name list for you as well. So I really hope this video has been interesting, informative, and has sparked some ideas. It's a whole brave world of baby naming out there. It is brutal, so I hope I've been helpful. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. If you would like to up your game either in your creative business or just have some fun creative hobbies while you're on mat leave, then do check out Skillshare. As I said, the first 1,000 of you to click on the link below will get an entire month for free, which is a great offer. You can get so much done in a month. I've already saved so many, even my plants are going to live longer because of Skillshare. Thank you very much. Do hit subscribe for more baby name lists, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.